Hi, elephants. I'm so happy to be back with all of you. I know Mrs. Tuff last week was talking a lot about nature and our earth, and I wanted to talk a little more about nature with you today, too, but more specifically, nature that we find right in our own backyard. I was outside just walking around the yard the other day, and I couldn't believe what was going on out there. I had the chipmunks running around. The squirrels were trying to dig up their nuts that they had planted last fall. The grass was growing. The flowers were growing. The birds were starting to build their nests. And as the summer comes along, we're going to have the bees coming out. They're going to be pollinating the flowers. We're going to have the butterflies flying around, drinking the nectar from the flowers, and we're going to have dragonflies out, and then we're going to have the fun of trying to catch those beautiful fireflies and watch the beautiful show they give us when it gets dark. So there's just so much going on right outside our front door, and I wanted to show you a few things that I collected last summer right in my own backyard. The first thing we do in spring is we put out some birdhouses. We have 3 or 4 of them, and we put them in different locations, and we keep our fingers crossed that we'll get at least one bird family. And last spring, we did. We got a wren family, and wrens are little gray birds, and they kind of have long beaks, and we watched them going back and forth. It took a long, long time. They kept building their nest, twig by twig, stick by stick. Then we heard the little birds chirping, so we knew they'd been born. And my husband was determined to get a picture of the mom bird feeding her little ones. She would go back and forth with bugs. And I said, that's never going to happen. That's impossible. Well, he went out with his camera, and day 1, he waited and waited and waited. Nothing happened. Day 2, he went out with that same camera, and he waited and he waited and he waited. Nothing happened. So now we're on day 3, and out he went again, and he waited. And let me tell you, that waiting absolutely paid off, because he got this awesome, awesome picture. And I am going to share it with you. Here is a picture of the mom wren. Here she is, right here, feeding the little baby that big insect. I think the insect might be a daddy longlegs. But look at the little baby. His head is right in that hole with his beak wide open, just waiting for that tasty bug. So all that waiting really did pay off, because that is really, I think, a really awesome picture. So at the end of the summer, what we have to do is we take all our birdhouses down and we clean them out. So they're all ready to put out next spring for the next families to come and build their nests. Well, we were cleaning out one of the birdhouses, and we couldn't believe the surprise we got when we cleaned it out. Usually it's just the nest that the birds have left. The little babies have grown up and flown away, and the mom and dad have left. So here is the nest that we found. And as you can see, it is just unbelievable how they build these nests. Look at all these little sticks, how long it takes them. And this family actually found a piece of plastic that they used. And you can see there are little feathers, and we think those are from the babies. When they're born, they have these little fluffy feathers. And as they start flapping their wings, some of the little feathers fly off and they get caught in the nest. So you can see those as well. But look what we found inside the nest. We've never found little eggs before. 2 little wren eggs. And what we think might have happened was that the mom and dad got scared away from the nest. Sometimes bigger birds come. If they think there might be eggs around, they like to eat them, like the crows and even the blue jays. So we think maybe they tried to get into the birdhouse and scared the mom and dad away. And because they weren't kept warm enough and the mom couldn't sit on them long enough, they weren't able to hatch. But I just couldn't believe the size, how tiny, to think a little bird comes out of that. So that was a pretty awesome find. And I just wanted to share that with you. And then there's something else that I found. I don't know if you've ever heard of a bug called a cicada. They're these brown bugs that come up out of the earth, out of the ground, and then they crawl and attach themselves to all kinds of different things. We have found one that attached itself to the tree. We have a shed in the backyard. We found one on the side of the shed. And I even last summer found one attached to the tire of my car. And this is what is left. This is the shell of a cicada. Once they attach themselves to something, they then break out of their shell and they fly away, usually up into the trees. And if you look at the back, you can see the little slit in the back where they get out. And then the shell is what is left attached to the tire or the house or the tree. You never know where you might find them. But they are kind of unusual looking little bugs. And the thing with these bugs is they get so loud. They make the loudest noise. And the hotter the days get, the louder the noise gets. So in August, when we have those really hot days, they can be so loud you almost have to cover your ears. You'll know when you hear them. So this is a cicada. And look around when you're outside in the backyard. Look on trees and the house. You never know where you might find this little thing. And just to show you or let you hear how very loud they can be, let me see if I can get this going. That is the noise of just one cicada. So when you have a few of those up in the tree, it is just so loud. So make sure this summer you listen for those. Then there was one more thing that I had found. A beautiful, beautiful monarch butterfly. We have a butterfly bush which gets these beautiful, beautiful purple flowers, and it's called a butterfly bush because the butterflies absolutely love it. They all perch on the flowers and they drink the nectar from the center of the flowers. Nectar is like juice. What we would drink juice, that nectar is the butterfly juice. And this one I found on the ground by the butterfly bush, and I didn't want to leave him there because he's so beautiful. And I was hoping that when school came around, I'd be able to share him and show him to you guys. So he's called a monarch butterfly, and you know it's a monarch because it's got that beautiful orangey brown color and the black. And the pattern of the wings, it's just beautiful. So that was something else I wanted to share. And all these things right in our own backyards. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to read you a book. And because we were just talking about this beautiful butterfly, I got a book